Alright, time for some sustained dialogue. Hello everyone, my name is Katie, welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to be doing my September's first impressions a month later. So every month I do a full face of first impressions where I try out some makeup products that I've never tried before. It could be new releases, it might be things that have been around for ages, but it's always a first impression for me. But obviously because it's a first impression, you're not really going to know someone's full in-depth review of a product just from a first impression. So I've decided to, from now on, do first impressions a month later, where I kind of just go through all the products in a bit more detail and state my opinions on them after using them a bit more. So this month I've decided to kind of rank the products and just kind of go through them from worst to best. So I tried 15 products in total in my September's first impressions, so I'm basically going to rank them from 1 to 15, and I'll start with kind of my least favourite product and go up to the top. This isn't exactly the most foolproof system because, I don't know, I feel like with some products it's kind of hard to be like, oh well, this is better than this because they're for different things and you would use them for different purposes, but I don't know, we're just gonna go with this for now. So I'm just gonna get on with this. So the thing that I ranked at the bottom, so number 15, would be the Revlon Colour Stay Brow Mousse in the shade Soft Black, this product here. I have pretty much got all of the products that I tried on my face today. The only thing I don't have on is the Bourjois liquid liner, the Revlon primer and the L'Oreal lipstick, but everything else I have got on my face today. Right, so this Revlon Colour Stay Brow Mousse, I feel like this is the sort of product that I would in theory like because I kind of like to just kind of brush on my brows. That's the sort of product I like. This, however, I don't really like very much. First of all, when you kind of twist it, it kind of comes out I don't know if you can see that, but 4 little kind of blobs come out, and I just don't really like that because it's just so easy to get splodges and it to look really patchy when you do that. And then also a lot of product comes off and it's quite gloopy and it's one of those things where it's either it's gonna go on and it's gonna look so splodgy and undefined, but then if you wipe off the excess it almost just doesn't do enough, so it's kind of you can't really win with this product, and that's kind of what comes off it there. And then so what I do is I just wipe off the excess and then I brush it on, but obviously because it comes out from these 4 bits, there are going to be bits of the brush that are picking up more product than others, and it just makes it overall quite difficult to work with. I just find that when I've used this it just doesn't give me the definition that I want. I've got it on today and I do have the other eyebrow product I tried on as well, but I mean, I'm not mad about my brows today. I just don't like this, and I thought that this would be the kind of thing I liked, but I just don't. The colour's fine, I just don't really like it. I don't really like the shape of the brush either. I find it quite hard to use. It's just, I don't rate this product really, so that's why I put it at the bottom. And obviously I have used it a few times. I have really kind of tried to give it the benefit of the doubt and use it a few times. And it doesn't look awful, it's just the kind of thing that I put on and I'm yeah, I definitely need more than this, so I would go in with a pencil or another gel or both. So the thing that I've ranked at number 14 is the Revlon Photo Ready Pore Reducing Primer, which is this one here, and it's a little bit unfair of me to put this so low because it's not really a bad product or anything. It's just if I'm honest, I don't reach for primers a lot, and right, so when I used it in my first impressions I felt like it didn't sit well with the base products, and I think that's true because I've then used the same base products with each other but without the primer, and they've worked, it's worked a lot better. For example, I have all of them on without the primer today, so I definitely think that this is a sort of primer that certain foundations it's gonna make look a bit textured and not so nice. But I have also tried it with some other foundations, but only a few times, but I didn't really have any issues with it then. I didn't find the same texture problems. In fact, it looked fine, but I just don't think it really increased the longevity too much. It was a nice primer. It feels very soft. I do really like how it feels, and I do find that it does reduce the pores slightly, but nothing extraordinary. I mean, I don't really think that's even possible anyway, to find something and your pores are gone, but it does feel absolutely lovely. I don't dislike this product or anything, but if I'm honest, it's not the kind of thing I'm like, ooh, I need to put that on my face, otherwise I'm gonna have a bad makeup day. I do just need to kind of use it more. I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit unfair with this one. Maybe I should just like try and use it like every day for a week and see if there really is any difference or something, but I don't know, I just feel like I expected a bit more from it, but it ain't bad. Like, I wouldn't not recommend it, but I just wouldn't say, oh my god, you have to get this, like, you can't live without this. The product that I've ranked at number 13 is the MUA Pro Base Full Coverage Matte Pressed Powder. Mine's in the shade 100, comes in this packaging here, and as you can see, I have pretty much used the vast majority of this. So in my first impression, I wasn't so sure about it, but I definitely feel like I've liked it a lot more since then. I still have ranked it quite low just because, like, even though I like it, it's still not a really flawless finish or anything like that. It's just, it looks okay, it looks slightly dry, but like the thing is, like, most powders do that to me anyway. There's only like a handful of powders that I've tried that really do actually look quite flawless. And then sometimes I'll find a powder that's quite good, but then it's the wrong colour and it's just the whole thing. So I like this powder, and obviously I've used it a lot, but I think that's mainly because I don't really have a lot of favourite powders, so I just kind of take what I'm given, really. The colour is really good, like, it doesn't make me orange or anything like that. I do really like the colour. I also wouldn't say that this adds any coverage like it claims to, but I mean, for £2.50, is it really going to add coverage? No, it probably isn't. Like, it mattifies my face, it doesn't make me look horrible, but is it the most flawless finish? Not really, no. But it's so damn cheap, and I think for that price, you know, it's worth trying out, because I'm sure there are some skin types that this might sit quite nicely on. So at number 12, I have ranked the foundation that I tried, which is the Maybelline Dream Satin Liquid Foundation in 02 Fair Beige, which I believe is the light shade, and in this foundation's favour, this is actually a really good colour match for me. I have got this foundation on today. I like this foundation. The reason I rank it so low is just because there's something just about this foundation that I'm not quite in love with. I think it's like the finish. It's just something like a little bit off about it, and I can't quite put my finger on what it is. It just doesn't look super kind of like natural, like it's, you can tell there's a foundation there, but then at the same time it doesn't have very good coverage either. So that's the thing, like, if a foundation is going to be lower coverage, I want it to have like a really like nice, flawless, natural finish. But if it's not going to have good coverage, but then it's not got a nice finish either, I kind of think, well, what's the point? It's not a horrible finish. Like, I've worn it quite a lot actually throughout the month because I did really want to test this. It's not the kind of thing that I wouldn't wear out of the house. Like, I have worn it out of the house. Like, I might be going out later in this, and I'm not going to take my makeup off. I do like it. It's not a bad foundation. It's just nothing like wowing. I just feel like I've tried like so many better foundations, and for like cheaper or around the same price. I would say it wears pretty averagely. It's not terrible wear, it's not amazing wear, it's just kind of somewhere in the middle, really. I'm going to do this today, but I am going to insert a clip after I finish talking here, just showing you how the foundation does wear after like a reasonably long day. I'll probably film that like some point next week and add it in. Hello, it's Trainwreck Katie back again. Today I have worn the foundation, the concealer and the powder, and it's been a long day, so I thought I'd just show you how this wears after a long day. I put it on at about 1 PM when it's now about 10:30 PM at night. I've just gotten back from work. Discounting my nose and my upper lip because these areas never last for me. That is down to human error and not the quality of the foundation. But looking at the other places on my face, it doesn't look great. Just a lot of breaking down going on, and just sinking into my texture and my pores and all of that stuff. Just pretty much round all over. I tend to find that with foundations that they tend to look okay in like kind of my outer part of my cheeks, my temples, and some of the outer parts of my forehead tend to hold up pretty well. But I tend to find that my centre part of my forehead, my pores, like around this sort of area, as well as around my mouth and my chin, just tends to break down quite bad. But some foundations are obviously better or worse than others. So I'll just show you my forehead first. Hopefully you can see just how that really has sunken into the texture and started to break down. Doesn't look fantastic if I'm honest, but hey, it is still on my face, I'll give it that. And then just going down to, obviously ignore my nose, because that's because I touch my nose, it's not because like the foundation just comes off your nose or anything like that. But kind of around these parts here, hopefully you can see that, just some sinking into the pores and whatnot. And also just kind of like around these bits of my mouth, it's breaking down and looking quite textured. But like these kind of outer parts of my cheeks actually look quite nice. There isn't like any texture going on there, so just my problem areas where it doesn't look great, but it's definitely not like a bad wearing foundation. Like I've had foundations that have looked so much worse than this, that's for sure. But I've also had ones that look a lot better than this after a long day, so again, I'd put it quite average in terms of wear. I would say, again, it's quite similar to the It Cosmetics one that I had tried last month. So with that, I kind of said that on a scale of 1 to 10, I would put number 9, I'd put the W7 foundations and the Max Factor Radiant Lift foundation. That's what I'd put at a 9 for good wearing foundations. I'd also add on the NYX foundation that I recently tried to that as well, because that's also really good wear. In fact, actually I think I put the NYX at a 9.5, because in fact I found it was slightly better than the Max Factor and W7 one. So that's just a point of reference. I would put this at a similar level to how I put the It Cosmetics one, about like a 6.5 out of 10. So definitely not terrible wear, just not, you know, amazing wear. See, it's been like 9.5 hours, so it's been quite a long day. Obviously, if it was a shorter amount of time, it would look a lot better. And if I'm honest, I don't expect any foundation to look good at this point. Like, foundation just isn't, it just doesn't last on my skin. After a certain point, I feel like after about 6 hours, it just all starts to go downhill from there, no matter how good the foundation is. It's just some look worse than others after that point. So I just thought I'd show you that. So now back to the rest of the video. So I just can't really make my mind up about this. Like, it's okay. Is it great? No, but I think some people might get along with this quite well. I think maybe it just depends on what your preferences are. If you want something that's a bit more lightweight on the skin, I mean, it's quite nice, but again, I think there are foundations with a better finish than this one. So at 11, I've put the lipstick. This is the L'Oreal Color Riche, is that how you say it? Magnetic Stones lipstick in Storm 908, which is this one here. And like, if I'm being completely honest, I've pretty much like not worn this. Like, I just, on a regular basis, do I want to wear a colour like this? No. Like, it's nice, and I am going to use it in one of my upcoming autumn makeup looks. But it's just not the kind of thing that I really want to reach for on a regular basis. I would say the formula is quite nice of this though. It's very like creamy, it glides on really nicely. It's like, it's a good quality lipstick, I can't deny that. It's just not the kind of thing that I wanted to wear especially, but I do have a plan to use it in a video because I want to do a kind of cool toned autumn look, so I think I would use this. Like, it's a good quality lipstick. If this is the kind of colour you want in your life right now, then I would recommend it. There's not really much more I can say about that one. So at number 10, I've gone with the Nip and Fab Makeup Thick Stick Definition in the shade Cool Taupe 1, which is this big stick here. And that's what the colour looks like. I do quite like this product actually. First of all, the colour of it is really like good. It's a really good shade for me. It's just a very cool tone but quite light brown. Very good for pale skin. It blends really like seamlessly, it applies pretty easily. It's a good product, I will say. The only reason why I rank it so low is because it's not the kind of thing where I'm like, oh my god, I need that on my face. Like, my face is not complete if I don't have this contour stick on. It's definitely not one of those situations. Like, it adds like a nice bit of like definition and warmth to my face, but it's not like to the extent where it's like, oh my god, I need that on my face, if you know what I mean. And the thing is, when you do blend it out, like, it doesn't disappear, but it is more of a subtle kind of looking product. It's definitely not something where you like can really see that kind of sharp definition. It just kind of blends very kind of naturally. Like, it doesn't disappear completely or anything like that, but it's just, it's not the sort of thing that you know, it's just not the kind of thing that I just need on my face. But like, I have obviously put it on a few times because obviously I wanted to try out these products, but I can live without it. It's nice, like, I'll take it or leave it, you know what I mean? But it's good, like, I would recommend it, but it's just, if you want something that's like kind of more, you can definitely see this on my face, then this might not be the one. At number 9, I've gone with the Bourjois Liner Clubbing Eyeliner Ultra Black. This one here. I think this is a decent eyeliner. It's fairly easy to use. It's quite an opaque colour. I don't find that this cracks, which the problem with, I feel like, a lot of liquid liners that are like not the felt tip ones is that they can crack. I haven't found that this was cracked on me, but I have found that it does fade. Like, it definitely doesn't last all day. It does fade. But to be honest, I kind of expect that with most liquid liners. I wouldn't say it's the most long wearing liquid liner, but it is very easy to use. It is very opaque. Like, I mean, I do like it. It's just, if I'm going to be a bit critical of it, it doesn't last all day. Like, it doesn't completely come off. Like, it's still there. It does fade quite a lot. So is it the best liquid liner out there? Not necessarily, but it's decent. So at number 8, I've gone with the concealer. This is the Gosh High Coverage Concealer, and mine was in the shade 002 Ivory. I do quite like this. I especially like how pale it is and very warm toned as well. It actually seems like you do get quite a decent amount of product in it, considering how small the bottle is. It definitely picks up a lot of product on the brush. It is like this huge doe foot. I like this. I think it sits on the skin really nicely. The only thing is, it's not a super full coverage concealer. If you're wanting something that's like going to completely eradicate spots, completely eradicate dark circles, this isn't the one. I wouldn't say it's particularly high coverage. I'd say it's more of a medium coverage concealer. I mean, on some days I don't want like a super full coverage concealer, so on those days I like it. I have used this quite a lot throughout the month. I do like it. It's just, I know a lot of people really just want high coverage when it comes to their concealers, and this isn't the one. If you do want something a bit more medium, on the medium side, I think you'd like this though. It blends really nicely, flawlessly. It sits on the skin very naturally. It doesn't look cakey, doesn't look clingy. Has a fairly kind of semi-matte finish. I wouldn't say it's overly oily. I wouldn't say it's overly dry. It's just kind of, you know, a nice kind of medium in the middle. So at number 7, I've gone with the eyebrow gel. This is the Gosh Eyebrow Defining Gel in the shade Grey Brown. This is a pretty decent eyebrow gel. I like that the brush, it doesn't get too much product on it, which I find with a lot of eyebrow gels. Like, it kind of, you do need to wipe it off a little bit, but not as much as like other eyebrow gels I've found, which I appreciate. The colours are really good for me. It's just like, it's kind of like a cool tone dark brown colour. Works well for me. It applies really well. I do find that I like to go in with a bit of a pencil just on the kind of arch of my brow afterwards. I wouldn't just leave it with this gel personally. It's not going to give you super defined brows, but if you want something that's just kind of like a light bit of tint and it's going to neaten your brows up a bit, give them a tiny bit of definition but not too much, I think you'd like this. This is the sort of thing I do like, but I do like to kind of use a bit of a pencil with it as well. At number 6, I've gone with the highlighter, which is the Gosh Chromatic Highlight in 001 Rainbow. And this is one that I got off of eBay. It is a limited edition one, so I'm not sure if you can get this still. That's what it looks like there. It's just kind of a bunch of like sort of holographic-y shades. I have got this one on today. I do really like this highlight. It's pretty pigmented. It's pretty, the colours suit my skin tone quite well. Lately what I've been doing is literally just kind of mixing my brush in all of the colours. It's a really pretty highlight. I do really like it, but it's not my favourite highlight that I've ever tried. It's got quite a decent amount of pigmentation to it, and it lasts reasonably well, but is it the best highlighter in the world? No. I wouldn't call this a favourite highlight product, but it is pretty decent, I can't deny that. And I just find with a lot of these products I don't have anything too insightful to say about them. For number 5, I've gone with the bronzer, which is actually technically a setting powder. The L'Oreal True Match powder in W3 Golden Beige, which looks like this. That is what the shade is like. This works absolutely beautifully as a bronzer. It's just the perfect tone for my skin. And the thing that I like about this bronzer is it's very natural looking. Like, you do have to build it up quite a bit, but I personally prefer that with a bronzer because it's just so easy to go overboard with bronzer, but I like that I have to kind of work with this one a bit more, and it just gives a really like natural, like just bit of warmth to the face. It works really well for me personally. I do recommend if you've got pale skin and you find that bronzer can sometimes look a bit too harsh on you and you kind of get a bit intimidated by it, this is the sort of thing that I think you would like. I also find that I don't really need to blend it too much afterwards. With a lot of bronzers, you kind of put it on and you've got to kind of blend it afterwards so it doesn't just look like a patch of orange on your face. But this one, sometimes I don't even need to blend it at all, and if I do, it's not a lot. It's just a very natural bronzer. I just really like this. This is just very suited for me, I find, which is why I've ranked it quite highly. Obviously it is matte, so if you want something that's a bit more glowy and radiant, then this ain't going to be for you. I personally like to alternate between both. Some days I do like a matte look, other days I do want something a bit more glowy. So at number 4, I have ranked the eyeshadow palette that I've tried, which is the Makeup Revolution The Once palette, the Emily Edit one, which is this one here. And of course I've broken it because why wouldn't I break things? It's kind of like come unhinged at the end here, as you can see. That is not really anything to do with the palette. That's because I took this on holiday with me and I was using this as my primary mirror, so I was kind of just like using and abusing it really. The mirror in this is actually like really good quality though. Like, I really like this mirror. I've not like used this too much just because on a more regular basis I don't really use eyeshadow at all, because I just like, because obviously I go to work like 5 days a week and I don't really have a lot of time to be doing eyeshadow looks. I kind of save that for my days off and for videos and things like that. But obviously I have used it a few times and I personally really like this palette. I know that there's been quite a bit of controversy with this one recently and I have got a few opinions on it, and I'm trying to work out the right way to articulate them because I'll start off by saying that I have got this one on my eyes today and I am really happy with how the eye look turned out. So I think I'll just start off by saying what my actual opinion on this palette is. I personally think it's a really good quality palette, especially for the price. I think the mattes in this are probably the better aspect of it. I found that the mattes are super pigmented and super blendable for me. The shimmers I find are more like you do have to work with them. They're not like instantly wow. You do have to kind of build them up, but I find that with like most eyeshadow palettes anyway. Obviously I used the shade Grateful on my lid today, which is like the limey green one, and like, I mean, it looks absolutely stunning. Like, yeah, it didn't instantly come out like that. I did have to build it a bit, but like, do people really not have that level of patience? Like, the thing is, when I do eyeshadow, I always do it on days where I have a lot of time to spend on my makeup. That's why I don't really use eyeshadow like too often, because I'm not gonna like bother with it because eyeshadow takes me ages to do, so I only save it for the days where I have the time to do it. So if I have to like work with some shades a bit, that really doesn't bother me. Like, I just don't really get the negativity with this, if I'm honest. Like, I personally really love the selection of colours in this. I've just found that the formula wise, I think they're good quality. I don't really see the bad. Like, the only like bad things I can say is that some of the shimmers are more buildable, like they're not instantly wow. But like, is that not the case with a lot of eyeshadow palettes? I was using this the other day because again I was practicing one of my autumn makeup looks and I was using it and I was like, wait, why are people sagging this palette off? Like, I think a lot of the people are criticising it for like being buildable as well, and like, I don't really get like what people expect. What do they expect, to just put their brush in, put it on their eyes and then that's it? Like, of course you have to work with it, of course it's not instantly going to look how you want it to. I didn't really find that I've had to blend it any more so than other eyeshadows that I've used. Like, am I being crazy? Like, that's just normal, right? You put on an eyeshadow, you blend it, you put a couple layers on, and then you're done, right? Like, that's how eyeshadow works, isn't it? Like, who's putting eyeshadow on and then expecting it to be the finished result? I think people are entitled to have their opinions on this. Like, you know, eyeshadow is going to work differently on people. People have different standards. I guess it really depends, like, what quality you're used to. Like, if you only use, like, high-end makeup products, you might, you know, notice kind of subtle differences in formula with more lower-end products. But, I mean, I have tried, like, quite a few high-end eyeshadow palettes. I've got quite a lot of them in my collection, and if I'm honest, I think a lot of my drugstore palettes are better than the high-end ones that I've tried. Just on a side note, it does kind of upset me a bit to see people slagging off Makeup Revolution as a brand, because personally I love Makeup Revolution. They probably are my favourite brand, like drugstore high-end, like just full stop. I just think they're such a good brand. And I do feel like I often see a lot of like beauty YouTubers like not giving them the most favourable reviews. I mean, like, I'm not trying to say that like people are being dishonest or like are being snobs about it, but I just find it confusing because like I've tried so many Makeup Revolution products, specifically eyeshadows, and I found that they're some of the best eyeshadows I've used. Like, I think they're really good quality. And like, obviously Makeup Revolution has like hundreds of products. Of course there are going to be products that aren't as good. Like, there's a lot of Makeup Revolution products that I've tried that aren't so good. Like, I did a whole week where I did a full face of Revolution and I've talked about my opinions on some of the products and that. I don't like all Makeup Revolution products, but I think like considering they have hundreds of products, I feel like the vast majority of them are pretty good quality. And one thing I find annoying is like when you'll watch YouTubers and they'll be testing out a brand like Makeup Revolution or any like drugstore brand, like a more affordable brand, and I feel like they'll pick the worst products, and it's really annoying because you're like, because you know like there is better products than that, and it's almost like they've intentionally, like maybe not intentionally, but they've picked the products that you know aren't as good, and it's not really an accurate like reflection of the brand. It's just, you know, all brands are going to have dud products. That's why I think like you should really just look at reviews and stuff before you buy these things, really, before you're kind of putting out that picture to an audience. The thing is, there are a lot of like really popular beauty YouTubers that do talk about like drugstore products a lot and are very favourable towards them. The most of the YouTubers that I watch are like more drugstore oriented, just because I feel like that's more realistic to my life and most people's lives. Absolutely rubbish at like articulating opinions, which is why I never have opinions. Like, I have opinions, but I never talk about them because I'm terrible at like articulating my thoughts. I think as long as like you are, you know, if you're gonna highlight the negative of a drugstore thing, as long as you would say the same thing about a high-end product, then I guess there's not really an issue. Like, if you're gonna say like, don't like call something a certain product out for something but then ignore it with another product, if that makes sense, especially when it's drugstore because it's so much cheaper. Anyway, I don't know if anything I said made any sense, but the point of the matter is I've ranked the palette quite highly because personally I think it's really good quality. I really like it. It's a very good price. I think the amount of shades that you get in there, as well as the fact that there's a huge mirror and like the aesthetic of the palette is quite nice, and the fact that the quality is also good. I mean, yeah, some of the shimmers are more buildable. Big deal. It's a good palette. I would recommend it personally. And that's the thing, like, I kind of was questioning it. I was like, wait, is this palette bad? Like, I've seen so much drama about it. Is this not as good as I'm remembering it? And then, like, I used it the next day and I was like, this is absolutely fine for me. Like, this is pigmented. What's the big deal? But, you know, people are gonna, you know, have different experiences with things, and that is fine. So at number 3, I've ranked the Revlon Colorstay eyeliner in black. This is just a twisty up black liner. I did actually break it a bit today for the first time, and that was really sad. But this gets some props for not running out, considering I have pretty much been using this like almost every day. When I did that with the Nip and Fab one, I can't remember if that was last month or the month before, mine like ran out really quick, whereas I've been using this one pretty much every day since my first impressions, and so it's been like a month and a half and it's not run out, and there's still quite, you know, a reasonable amount of it left, so I'll give it some props for that first of all. It's also incredibly pigmented, very long lasting, and it glides on really nicely. I have got this one in my waterlines today. It's just really good. There's not really anything bad I can think of about this liner. It's just very good, which is why I've put it in the top 3. And then I may as well talk about the top 2 products together because they're both the mascaras that I used. So the one that I've ranked like number 2, not quite as good, but like there's barely any like leeway between these. So it's the L'Oreal Paradise Mascara in 01 Black. This one here, and then at number 1 I put the L'Oreal Unlimited Mascara in Black 01 as well. Both really good quality mascaras in my opinion. L'Oreal always does mascaras really well, so I wasn't really surprised when I really liked these. So I would put the Lash Paradise one slightly under the Unlimited just because it doesn't quite have as much volume. Like, it's still very voluminous, like it's a really good mascara. It's just the Unlimited has a bit more kick to it, but only ever so slightly. It's barely noticeable, but I mean, I'm like really into eyelashes, so obviously I notice it. So I have got the Unlimited on my top lashes today, and I put the Paradise one on my bottom lashes. I like that they both kind of work well on bottom lashes as well. These are just incredibly voluminous mascaras. Right, so as I'm talking, I will insert a clip of a before and after of me using the L'Oreal Paradise mascara, just so you can see like the kind of before and after, like how much volume this mascara gives me. I mean, in my opinion, it does a pretty good job. And I will also now insert a clip of me trying out the Unlimited mascara, a before and after of that one as well. I just think these are very good quality mascaras, which is why I put them at the top. They're definitely the things that I've reached for a lot throughout the month, like almost every day pretty much. And they're still going pretty strong as well. A lot of mascaras kind of, I use them for a few weeks and then they're either dried up or I've just used all the product, but these are still going reasonably strong, which is good. That's all of my opinions on all of the products that I've tried a month later. Obviously, I'm sorry that there are like a few that I didn't use maybe as much as I could have, but as I've said, I'm not going to force myself to use makeup. I'm just really not feeling it, you know. I just can't make myself do that, really. It's just, I just can't. You know, there are a lot of makeup products that I just generally don't want to use, like a lot. Like I don't use liquid liners every day. I don't use eyeshadow every day. I don't use contour sticks every day. Like, it's just not realistic to my life. Anyway, I think I will try and do this format of kind of ranking the products in future. I don't know if this video is good. But anyway, I'm gonna start talking because I'm absolutely terrible at talking. Like I'm just not good at talking. Like I don't think anything that I say makes sense, which is why I kind of prefer to just put the makeup on my face, really. Thanks for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one.